Really bad.
Okay, welcome to the April 16th, 2025 meeting of the Executive Committee. My name is Sandy McKee and I am the chair of the committee. Tonight we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez. This meeting is called to order. We need to mute it, right? Sorry.
Once we did. Do you need it?
No, no. Okay, thank you. The meeting is called to order at 6:33 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires that all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person must have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Albie and Stu, that's your call. Turn on those cameras. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you may raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. No one from the public is here in person, but they could ask questions. And if we have time following the committee's discussion, we will field the questions. CBC's Assistant Secretary Jerry Weinstein will take minutes tonight. We will now take attendance by roll call. Jesus will conduct the roll call.
All right, everyone, good evening. When I call your name, please indicate present. Majed Abdul Samad. He is not, I don't see him. We'll move on. Neil Barkley. I don't see him either. Elby Barroso.
Present.
Thank you. Stuart Desser.
You see me, right?
I'm looking in a different direction. So please call out. All right, now we see you, Stu. Steve Disman.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Fromowitz. I don't see. Justin Goldberg.
Here.
Thank you. John
Present.
Keller.
Here.
Thank you. Nadine Kalani, I think will be delayed.
He should be here by 7.
All right. Anton Malner.
Present.
Thank you. Sandy McKee.
Present.
Thank you. Rich Mintz.
Present.
Thank you. Livia Shrednick.
Present.
Thank you. Gabe Turzo.
Present.
Thank you. Jerry Weinstein.
Present.
All right, with 10 of 15 members duly present, we do have quorum.
Okay. The agenda for tonight's meeting is reflected on the screen before you. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda. If you have an objection to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the March 19th meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing no objections, the minutes from the February 19th meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB6 website. Our ground rules, no one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to speak or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you to speak. All committee members, it is important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. Chair's report. We're inviting the Solovia group to come and speak to the Land Use and Waterfront Committee. We haven't had any additional feedback from our community, but as this is becoming more and more topical, it should be decided this summer. We're looking for some information from them. What will happen if they don't get granted a casino license, I think is the key thing. But they haven't confirmed yet, so we'll see what happens. We're meeting with Congressman Nadler tomorrow, and I've compiled the responses to questions. Any last minute questions, please let me know, and thank you for sending in some of the issues. the FDR reimagining. We met briefly, the task force before full board. We presented to CB8 and they did not pass our support for our study. They recommended that we go to CB11 next. So Jesus has been organizing a meeting.
Who recommended? CB8 recommended you with CB11? CB11 is gonna like it even less than,
Well, it was interesting because we presented to the land use, Parks and Transportation Committee. It was a joint meeting. And they were completely positive. I think it was almost a unanimous pass in those two committees. And then at full board, they got sort of caught up with the FDR part of it. Where we were emphasizing it's really about access to the waterfront. The FDR is this huge barrier. That's why we need to reimagine the FDR. So there were such comments as we absolutely have to have a highway on the east side of Manhattan. So again, anything, well, and they mentioned several people that were listed on the report had very negative impression of CB8.
Mhm.
So they said maybe if we get CB11 to support it, as we could come back to them with more support.
I mean, I wish us well. It's great.
So for meeting with CB8, we need to do a little more research, I think, on what's actually happening within their district to know more about it. But, we've got to keep.
Is the issue that CB8 feels like they were hammered by congestion pricing and they're still recovering from that?
I don't know. Kyle was there at the.
I don't mean to distract us.
Yeah, no, I think they're just, like, they assume we want to get rid of cars. Which is, the cars on the highway are stopping us from reaching our waterfront. And it's probably the same in CB11. It's certainly the same in CB8.
I think it's worse than CB11 in terms of its access to water.
CB11 is where again?
It's further north.
Further
Like,
north. I believe it's from 110th north.
Okay.
And they,
96.
96, sorry.
In
So-
East Harlem.
Yeah, East Harlem, but
Right,
they,
where you, yeah.
and there's part, I don't think even the Greenway is completely
Yeah.
connected. So they have more concerns and, maybe that's what the study points out is that we need to focus on East Harlem but also CB3, excuse me, we haven't been able to meet with CB3 and they did a study, but it didn't talk about the full east side of Manhattan.
Well, CB3, the borough president is on record as saying that part should be taken down.
Well, that's actually in CB1.
Oh, that's in CB1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Just a
anyway.
quick question, because you said Mark Levine, basically, has there been discussion with the folks who are running to replace them to bring them up to speed about this?
One of them is our council member, so
Yeah.
he's up to speed. We haven't spoken with.
Right.
So anyway, the point being, we are still trying to get support for a study of the entire east side of Manhattan. So that was just like a recap. Let's see, Borough Board is tomorrow. I asked Eric from Borough Board if it was possible to get an open data session for members of the board, mostly so that we learn how to use it. And there's a lot of data available, but it's just so hard to access unless you know how to use the system. So we'll see, and it may mean an extra meeting, unfortunately, which I know no one's gonna want, but if it's possible, we'll see if we can have someone come and explain it to us. MSBI officially closed. So now we need to really build some support within our community for what's going to happen at the site. And I think that's a big issue is having the community, the information from our community is what we do there. That it's not just CB6 being.
Do we have a committee that's sort of mobilizing the effort of figuring out one?
We had one at the land use committee. And also the health committee apparently is going to be talking about it. Rupal Kakad has been going to the meetings about, that was basically trying to save MSBI. And they're they're trying to regroup with a new direction.
Okay.
It's closed. We can't save it. Yeah.
So backtracking onto open data,
Oh.
got some experience on it. If you can't get them to do a presentation, I'd be happy to do a view.
That would be fantastic, because we'll set a date then and ask people.
It's such a mushy topic, like, we have people in our committee who want to be taught how to use open data, and open data is just like this mush of opportunity.
Yeah, it's stuff.
But we can direct people. I think your point is well taken in the sense that we're like, here's what we want to access. And whether or not it's beta NYC or something more specific.
Yeah.
That's a good way that we have specific things that we want to do rather than the world of.
Well, you're on our committee, obviously, so maybe the two of you could sync up and you could give Jason a little direction.
I mean, aren't there issues that the transportation committee could utilize?
Yeah, I used it some time ago, when I was trying to make the case for, changes to the NYPD parking around the
Yeah.
precinct. But there's definitely other use cases.
Yeah.
Like crash
I
data.
mean, maybe each committee, if you can just think of what it would be useful for, that would be helpful.
That would be good.
Yeah,
Where we could do like a walkthrough of how each committee could use it.
use it, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
That would only be a 12-hour meeting.
Okay, not here, but just, come up with a couple of
Yeah.
ideas for what we want to use it for.
That's great.
We're having the meeting with the new members, and I said, any advice that we want to pass along to them, any feedback on,
They haven't been selected yet, right? So it's the end of the month.
this is last year's.
Okay. It's like, I thought, yeah, okay.
It's a reunion.
Yeah,
Just to sort of recap what's happened, what we've learned, what's
that's the
What-
29th.
29.
Pizza.
Given what Kyle said when we started, he's like, well, I don't know if he said in retrospect, that you should just listen for a year. I think you could add, okay, now you can lean in.
Now you
So
can-
now you can lean in since
Oh.
they've been there for a year.
And maybe that's part of the problem. We've had some leaners without the listening. But that's me. And then the mayor's charter reform. John has been trying to.
Sandy and I, first of all, had a Katie Loeb, Councilmember Rivera's office was very kind to introduce us to people on the city council's charter revision group. And we had a very productive discussion about land use, which Sandy knows quite a bit about, obviously. And what came out of that is that the city council is very concerned about protecting member deference, I believe is the correct term when it comes to ULURP proposals. We've reached out also to the mayor's office and there's a lot on the website. There are meetings that have been held and everything, but it's not clear what's coming out there. And, we're trying to suss out a little bit what's actually going to come out of that. And I guess the obvious concern is that something would come out and go on the ballot without a lot of discussion. So Sandy and Gabe are going to be talking to the mayor's commission on next Thursday or Wednesday next week.
Gabe is doing the talking.
We're still figuring out the words.
Yeah. We need to talk about that.
Anyway, that's just the quick update.
Right. Oh, and budget requests. Has anybody had the opportunity to use the new form? For budget request?
Oh, yes,
Useful or,
easy enough. Straightforward.
okay, no changes, was helpful?
It was straightforward. I just forgot that it existed, so it was helpful to be reminded to use it.
Yeah. Okay,
But,
great.
yeah, it was easy to.
Yeah, I guess that reminds me, I spoke at the rally on Saturday, sort of spoke, it was difficult to speak. But for opening the south side of the bridge, the Queensboro Bridge to pedestrians, which it's pretty amazing crossing on that bridge without having to worry about being hit by scooters, bicyclists, people racing to their job. It's a great thing, so the sooner they open it, the better. We don't know why they're not opening it, but anyway, that's it. It'll be good when it finally comes. All right, we'll now hear from Jesus Perez, our district manager.
All right, welcome everyone. Just a quick update. So you're aware, every few years or so, agencies are supposed to be audited by the EEPC, the Equal Employment Practices Commission, which is a city agency that sort of evaluates all other agencies to make sure that their hiring and just manner of operating conforms to proper EEO policies and ADA policies and DEI policies and all that stuff. We haven't had one of these since 2017, so we're having one again this year. All Manhattan boards, all Queens boards are subject to that this year. And so we'll be undertaking that. The tricky part about these audits, and already some boards have gotten sort of their backs up about it, is that the EEPC provides essentially no guidance as to what we're supposed to be doing. And then when the audit comes, will tell us you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. So that's what happened in 2017. At the end of that audit, I was still a baby district manager back then, and said, maybe you should give us a one-pager where you tell us everything we need to do and when we need to do it. When this audit was released, I reminded them of that, and they essentially said, oh, we have some things, it's not comprehensive, but they turned out something very quickly. So this audit looks different from the last one, so we'll see. We're gonna have to put together a formal response to the audit. I'm sure we'll be looking for a few things that we did not know we had to do, but we'll do that. There are some boards that are circulating a resolution, sort of criticizing the EEPC that they should do better, that they should, we have no problem adhering to what we need to adhere to, but that they need to actually tell us and give us guidance. So CB1 is spearheading that initiative in Manhattan, but if it goes anywhere, we can let you guys know to see if maybe one of the committees here takes it up.
Is it your opinion that we should join that?
I'm not gonna make any pronouncement on that. I think it's still too early. But I think at the very least, we probably should make some indication in our official response that
How are we supposed to?
for an agency that's supposed to do nothing but this,
Yeah.
they probably need to do a little better. Right, just so you, in case you hear it on the street that we're being audited, that's what it's done.
How long does an audit generally last?
This audit will last a few months.
Months?
It's a very slow back and forth.
Oh.
So, yes,
And I just, apparently I need to take an EEO course.
there are several courses you might need to take, but
But I went back and checked, and actually on the borough president's website, it says that all board members are required to take an EEO course as part of your participation.
and the issue is that the VP's office has always said that. It's just that I don't ever see any kind of like checking.
Yeah.
So if they don't check, folks aren't gonna do it.
I
But,
did do one in 2023.
Yes, yeah, and some of these things they wanted us to do, we did in 2023. It's just that the audit period is all of 2024. So, we'll see. Obviously, Community Board 6 is supportive of all the, inclusivity and DEI and EEO and all that stuff. It's just that a lot of community boards feel sort of are buckling under the weight of 100 different things that we have to do. One more thing with no guidance is not fun. So we'll see. But that's it.
Okay, the order of committees in May, first off, we have public safety and sanitation.
Good evening. So That's not quite the way I remember it, but okay. We have invited the NYPD commanders and the sanitation district superintendent to our next meeting. Uh, Separately, as separate agenda items, we're interested in discussing what they see as priorities for their budget. And we're hoping to have a broader conversation. So far, we've got a yes from Commander Clamp at the 17th precinct, and we have silence from everyone else. So we've been pressing, but we don't know what will happen. Also, Justin, I think suggested that we take a look at putting some advertising, that's at the right word, public service announcements on the kiosks in our district. In our case, to encourage better sanitary practices. And that won't be a solution, but something that we'll discuss with the office and with Sandy to see break into that along with the board itself doing its own signage. And I think, so the scaffolding in parks, I don't think we're going to be discussing at the meeting this month. And that's it.
Meaning you think you're gonna do it next month or to be determined, or?
I think I think we'll see what evolves. I've had some conversation with parks, and the sense right now is that what we were trying to accomplish in a more formal manner, they feel they're having better success doing informally. And I don't think we want to interfere with their relationships if they're having success. So, we want to do our job, but our job is sometimes better done if we sort of refrain. So that's where we stand right now on that.
And Stu,
I see Discovery is still on the, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sandy.
no, sorry, I'll let you finish. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I see Discovery still on the agenda. So we are waiting to see what happens in Albany. The discussions that we had, so as I think you all know, the Manhattan District Attorney came to us and asked us for a resolution. And the sense of the committee was actually that we not only don't support the resolution, the proposed resolution that they gave us, but we actually seem to oppose it. So it's conceivable that we would resolve against it, but we're waiting to see what happens in Albany first. We might also want to talk with a state senator and a state assembly person who are looking for a third way, basically, a resolution that makes everyone sort of happy. So we're waiting to see how things evolve.
But just for clarity, if they do a deal as part of the budget deal, it'll be done, right? It'll be over.
Well, it'll be legislation, but legislation is sort of not, it's sort of soft. It can change again. I don't think it's going to happen as part of the budget deal.
Okay.
The legislature seems to be, I mean, it was the legislature that backed the reforms in the first place. And there's been a pretty strong case made on both sides. I think that, and the governor's proposal, I think probably for most of the legislators goes overboard. So there is some cause to be sympathetic to the DA, the state DA's position, the position of the DA throughout the state. But the solutions that are being proposed are substantial rollbacks, and that's probably not going to be accepted by the legislature.
Justin.
Yeah, I'd still like to help you drop that. We were thinking about putting together a third way for Discovery. Are we still considering that, or did
I
you
might
guys?
say that a lot of other boards have either they've supported the there are two bills, I believe. One, I don't know if they're in the Assembly and or the Senate, but they have not proposed altering the nature of this discussion. And it seems like it might be a deep dive for us to try and come up with something that altered, like, shouldn't we be supporting what's in the legislation right now? Like, there are two bills, as far as my understanding. I'm sorry, I'm not explaining this very well, but there were two that were proposed that are now under discussion, and now it's taken, because of the budget issues, they've been sort of sidelined. Is that
By
not the
Myrie
case?
and Lasher, you mean?
Right, there's 631, or I can't remember the numbers, but there are two.
Right, S 613, I think. Yeah, we do, I think we would support those. And I think that's as far as we might want to go. But,
Well, and that's what other
but
boards have seemed to have done, because obviously it's a very, it's a huge issue, and I think a lot of boards don't feel they have the legal expertise to propose new.
well, I think, I'm sorry. I think where we came out is that we not only support S 613, but we oppose the legislation that the governor has put into the budget process. So we can both support these third ways, basically, and we can oppose what the governor's proposing. So I'm not saying I mean, that's not on our agenda right now. But if the committee members wanted to go on the agenda, because they did feel pretty strongly about that, when at the end of the meeting, we did have a discussion, and people were pretty frank about how they felt. So but we wouldn't be drafting our own legislation. I mean, we would only be supporting some bills or opposing the governor's proposal, or both.
So the
I'm sorry,
reason
from here I can't see reactions, so I don't know what's going on.
If I can drag it back to, I guess, a more operational level, the reason this agenda is the way it is, and I spoke with both Brendan and Brian to make sure that all their committees, we have the up-to-date agenda, is because this was our understanding of this was the most up-to-date version of this agenda. If it's not, then we need to make changes to it so that we can get ready to post it. Ideally, we like to post everyone's agenda right after exec happens. If there's a lot of still unresolved stuff, though, we will wait until it's mostly resolved and then we'll post it. But we absolutely want to post things, if possible, at least a week before the meeting happens. So we've only got about a week or so left for that. So for this item that is going to be split into two, so this is essentially the same thing, but just one for NYPD and one for DSNY.
Yes, well, first of all, we're 2 weeks ahead of our meeting, and secondly, yeah, that's what I said. We would invite NYPD and DSNY as separate agenda items at separate times. There's no need to have them there both at the same time. And so it looks like these are notes from our conversation, and maybe I was a bit too wishy-washy. But I thought I thought those were. I thought that was resolved. So I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear.
We need precision with the office. So, okay, so yes, as you said, 17th is confirmed. 13th has responded, but they're non-committal. And DSNY continues to no response. So, essentially, item 1 is NYPD. Item 2 is DSNY budget requests. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that that the 13th precinct responded at all.
They have. again, right before exec, I
Okay.
meet with Brendan and Brian to make sure that all their committees have all the information so that when we post this for you here, it's as you intended it to be. And this is what they understand is the most up to date.
Okay.
But
I'll,
yes, 13 has confirmed, but they weren't willing to
I'll
commit.
be, I got it.
Okay, so this will be.
Okay, I'll be crisper.
Okay, and as far as the discovery, we will.
Discussions,
Discovery is, what's the final decision for Discovery?
it's not on the agenda right now.
Okay,
Okay,
meaning it might come back by the time we post this, or if it comes back, it'll be next month.
If it could happen if there's something, if there's action in Albany, or if we invited Myri and Lasher to our last meeting and neither could come because of the budget deliberations. And I think that they probably still can't come because of the budget deliberations. So chances are very slim that we would update the agenda and put them back on. So I would think that, it could happen in June.
Okay, so essentially your agenda is NYPD budget stuff, DSNY budget stuff, and this Lincoln NYC littering campaign.
That's
Yes?
correct.
All right.
and I mentioned that I think we probably do need a resolution or a sort of at least a pretty robust thing that we can take to the full board for the littering campaign. Just so we get the full board to sort of, bless. So I don't know if that's a resolution or.
Well, how do we, I don't think we need. Right, so I don't think it would be a resolution. What else can it be?
Presentation.
We could, sure,
Is there a way to vote on something that's
or
like,
proposition or something like,
yeah, like more of a proposition or something like that? So like we do a presentation and this gives people
Yeah.
the chance to just say, yeah, we. agree
Yeah,
with
we
this.
think this is a great idea. I think, Jesus, you're the closest to the parliamentarian we have.
The strictest reading of the bylaws would be that whatever it is you want to do, put it in resolution form and pass it at full board. That will tell you that full board has said, yes, we should do this, even if it seems innocuous enough, like, hey, don't litter. That's the sort of textbook by the book. You should do that. Is there wiggle room there? Maybe, but if it's not pressing, which doesn't seem to be, you may want to try the resolution, and the office can help you craft something like that if it.
We wrote a resolution.
Well, then we'll have to look at it. We get.
well, I think when it's I'm sorry, I think when it's B's turn to speak, we should talk about some other manner of passing a sense of the board without making a resolution, because a resolution doesn't really fit into this particular circumstance.
Yeah, but we do have probably a little bit of time, but we'll try and sort something out by the meeting. But I kind of agree. It's a graphic. We need to show, it would be better to do a presentation. Or maybe there's a presentation and a very minimal reso, but okay.
I just think it's good for you're representing something that could represent the community.
Yeah,
It could be like a procedural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
Okay,
can see it, not even like making it too big of a thing, but yeah.
okay. All right, I guess that's it for now. For you, Stu, anything else? Okay,
No, I
transportation,
think that's more than enough.
yeah. Okay, transportation, Jason.
All right, first we got a bus lane improvement project on Madison Avenue, presentation from DOT. I'm excited to see what they're cooking up. Then we've got our planning fellows presentation on improvements to Third Avenue. so excited for that. We have Junction 38, Gramercy Park North. Still not sure exactly what we're doing there. So these are the guys who came to our meeting and
Yeah.
board. Still sort of wrestling with how we can help them. Does this see your point? Do we need to have that finalized if it's staying on or not?
There's no hard and fast rule. If it's a pretty innocuous thing, we could put it on the agenda as tentative, and then if it falls off, it falls off. Something like this might attract attention, so we don't want to put it on
Yeah.
there unless it's actually gonna move forward. I would, given your bus lane item, I would argue we should post your agenda tomorrow without the Gramercy Park stuff.
I was just gonna say that would be my preference as well.
And if it comes back to life, then we add it on, preferably with as much notice as possible. But as far as, I know we're waiting feedback from the constituent on some things related to this. We've not heard back from them. We're waiting DOT's response on a few other things. We've not heard back from them. Brendan has followed up though. So we're kind of in a holding pattern with this right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, let's take it off for now. That sounds ideal for that word line. Actually, sorry, the second 5, I believe we're set for, though.
This, we're set for?
I thought so.
I was under the impression, Brendan said that he was awaiting word from the constituent on something and from DOT on something.
I think it's the yellow paint, the B there. I think we have lockdown is my understanding.
Because DOT told us that they only paint it yellow if there's a fire hydrant. But there is a fire hydrant here, so.
Got it.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we post this part of the agenda?
Works for me.
And then we will, when we're super clear on where this stands, we'll get with you and see if we want to post the rest.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I suggest there's some discussion at the meeting because we got a lot of feedback on that particular, I mean, you can do it under old business or.
Yeah, it's just not really clear what we can do for them.
Even to say that, like, we're following up and what we're, you give them the information on the yellow paint and.
I'm good leaving it on the agenda if you'd rather stay on the agenda.
I know, I mean, I think
Fair enough.
we got a lot of feedback
Yeah.
on this, so.
All right, so we'll leave it on the agenda. And if it's a brief update, then it's a brief update.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
all right, parks, landmarks and cultural.
I'm sorry, my connection is,
You may have to turn off your video.
Our connection's good here, so maybe it's on your end.
You can do that, Stu. We'll let you turn off your video.
it's come back. I just read the captions, the lower thirds when I can't hear, when it breaks up.
Okay, all right. Neil, this may be a key clue that you have to come closer to the table. For them to-
Stu, can you hear me?
No.
It may be the camera, right?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
It's not the owl, I can hear you.
He's having a delay. So-
Okay,
You're coming through clear.
okay, all right, go for it, Neil. Oh,
Okay, so we will have the monthly report from Parks and Recreation and then continue the discussion of the district needs and budget requests. That shouldn't be too long. I mean, we've looked over it a couple times and the members they have, they've done their homework, so they're really good at that. So that, shouldn't be too long.
okay. And I guess there were, the libraries had some requests. Have you reached out to them or have they
So
reached
they're-
out to you?
So they're, the one on 23rd, Tiffany Library, we have spoken to them. But I haven't heard anything from them recently.
Yeah,
And then, the one with Third Avenue, we could always reach out to them again.
yeah,
But we did have some correspondence with them.
Yeah, I think they asked for something last year and it didn't get on, but
Okay, but did it go through the Parks Committee?
I think so.
Did they come to a meeting?
No, they just sent in the request.
Okay, okay.
So it wouldn't
Did they
hurt.
Send it to the office or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and that's Third Avenue?
Like the Kips Bay.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah, just to, it's a
Yeah,
good, they always have a request.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Okay,
And
great.
just a point of information, I was talking to Kevin today and he mentioned there's an event at St. Martin's Park coming up or?
Earth Day.
Earth Day.
Yeah,
Right.
it'll be Earth Day event and they have, they have something and I'm not sure.
Seems to be cold there.
Some of the other parts, but I know that one for sure.
Cold.
And actually, it would be great if we could sort of compile some of these things for the parks in our district. I know a lot of parks have It's My Parks Days or.
Well, yeah, now,
groups.
It's My Parks Day. I mean, yeah, we've talked to a lot of different groups. I mean,
Yeah,
that's gonna be everywhere, like, stop.
sorry.
It's okay, Stuyvesant Square, the West Park, they will have something on, Saturday, May 17th, and then the East Park will be on the 18th.
Yeah,
Detmold Park, Peter Detmold, they, have a new group that's going to be there,
so, just I thought maybe we could publish something for the newsletter or at least have it available. But maybe if the committee can kind of pull these together, that would be great.
Yeah, and I think generally they do reach out, right? Like the SPNA Stuyvesant Park.
And any parks, any district parks group that advertises a It's My Park Day or Earth Day or other thing in the parks, assuming they actually give us the flyer in time, we will put it in our.
Yeah, so maybe you can just remind them to do
Well,
that.
they're diligent. Jesus knows they.
Like this Detmold group, if they're new, they should reach out to us. 'cause
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Astor Levy has a group
We
now,
can do
like
that.
there are a couple of these that are kind of new.
Yeah,
that
I
we could let people know
messaged,
about.
Lisa DeVito, I know she's really
Yeah.
good about Stuyvesant Square East and,
I mean, we can't be posting like everything under the sun, but for the parks groups, we like to. And they're free, parks improvement events, we like to support those, so
No.
if they just reach out to us, we can get them into the laps of the newsletter.
Okay, budget and government affairs. Has Snad joined us?
Yes, I'm on.
Oh, great, okay.
Health,
Oh, we skipped health.
you skip health.
Oh, I'm sorry. Health and environment, Elvie.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. So the first topic in our agenda, the discussion of substances that contaminate water pipes in New York City. That all depends upon if we can get a speaker, and Kevin is trying to get one. Otherwise, we will discuss the harness expertise of licensed professional act. And also, we're gonna bring back the discussion on the new healthcare facilities. The request for a community center or healthcare facilities was or has been in our budget request for almost 10 years. But hopefully this time we can bring that back and discuss more about that request. And we will also discuss the statement of district needs and budget request. And that's all. Thank you.
And as part of the healthcare facilities, will that be talking about replacing MSBI?
Not actually replacement, but something that will supplement the needs of the seniors in our district.
Well, I thought that's what that was. We told someone that
Yeah,
that would be on the agenda because that's, when I read that, that's what we thought that meant.
I know there's certainly a lot of concern about what would be the appropriate replacement for MSBI and what we do require. And I know we're talking about it in land use and waterfront, but there's also very much a health aspect of how do we find that out. So it might be something that the committee wants to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, budget and government affairs, sorry.
Good question. Elvie, can you reach out to Kevin regarding this speaker? He may or may not have, we've reached out multiple times and he doesn't get back to us. And since you said it's speaker dependent, you know, your agenda is kind of frozen until we sort this out. Unless you want us to just post it as tentative, and if it falls off, it falls off.
Yeah, it should be tentative because I'm not sure if Kevin will get somebody. So might as well.
Is this super, like, is it super pressing that it needs to be on the agenda, given that you guys
Oh,
already passed?
no.
And sorry, Obi, is there someone coming to talk about the HELP Act?
Yes.
There is. Okay, great. All right, thank you. Okay. Budget now, Nad.
Okay,
Budget
perfect.
account.
Thank you. So we had the Commission of Racial Equity reach out to us. They wanted to give a presentation about the work they're doing. We're confirming, as it notes, like that they'll be able to come to this meeting. We had talked to them, I guess, a couple months ago now about coming in for that. So just want to make sure that they'll still be able to do that. The potential tax exemption changes. This is something that is happening pretty live around what's happening with the municipal bonds. It may change by the meeting, our next meeting. We were discussing it on Monday. So we're going to leave it in for now. We're just going to watch the news and see what happens there. And then the land acknowledgements one, I candidly don't have the full context on this. I think it was discussed on the Monday meeting, which I haven't fully watched yet, but I wasn't able to attend. But we have included it there, and we'll sort of keep it like this for now. We'll figure out. I'll figure out sort of what the context is, and I can provide that to anybody who's interested.
B may be able to enlighten us. Is B?
Yep.
Okay.
So there was discussion about acknowledgement that we've seen in a lot of the cultural institutions in the age that we're having discussions about immigrants and undocumented, about talking about the land that exists where we're at, and a small resolution acknowledging that we're in the steps of other people. So we're going to see how the language will be and whether we can do something for our meetings when we open our meetings. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah, thank you. B.
Want to add something?
Yeah, it was a member who suggested this, said she had noticed that in many cultural institutions, before they begin programs, they make a verbal acknowledgement that this is the ancestral home of the Lenape people.
Yeah.
And thought that maybe that should be done in front of CD6 meetings. So that's what that discussion will be about.
Okay. You can go to the meeting, Chick.
I have a question, Nad. So this Commission on Racial Equity thing, so it sort of landed in your committee because it initially got pitched to public safety, but they didn't want it. But we were looking again, and public safety's wheelhouse is also human rights and social justice. So it probably, we haven't actually invited them yet. They sort of just sent out a generic invite that, hey, we're here if you want us to present. But if we're sticking to what the committees are supposed to be covering, this probably should be in public safety, or if there's just no interest, we don't have to invite them.
Yeah, public safety wants it. They can have it for sure.
Sorry, Jerry.
In full disclosure, I know Linda, the executive.
Yeah.
We'll confer.
And they are probably.
I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah, we can send you information. Like, I think part of it for us, like when we got the email about it, was just like they did work and we wanted to sort of show appreciation for that. So we're still happy to take it, but Stu and I can discuss offline.
So where it's relevant, because I've talked with her about this, is they're about to sue Eric Adams. He was supposed to sign off on a racial equity plan across government, which is their mission. And they may want to talk more than just land acknowledgements, just saying.
Well, it has nothing to do with land acknowledgements.
I know.
This particular thing. So, but we'll let you talk about it offline and decide.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Okay.
So for right now, it won't be on the agenda, and if you guys add it later, we can put it on later.
And there was an announcement that next month is your last meeting until the September. Are you not planning on a June meeting?
I wasn't aware of that announcement, but
Okay, all right, you guys can sort it out, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, housing and homelessness.
Yes, so we are, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say we are going to discuss interim results of our, community housing survey at the May meeting, because we can, we're meeting on Monday, we're gonna have another work session, but we can't keep having work sessions, we need
Yeah,
to
we gotta
actually like
produce.
bring it in. And we will also, I'm gonna try to do district needs on Monday, but I will probably be pressed to defer it, and we can't defer it past May.
Yeah,
So will you please put district needs on and we can take it off if we get it resolved before then?
I think what you're thinking of is next month is the last meeting to do budget work before September. I think is what they were saying, something like that. Because I
Yeah.
didn't hear what you were, what they were saying.
Well, I mean, there's June.
Yeah,
Maybe there's something we don't know there.
I may have misheard, but please go ahead. All right, so, sorry, so May is budget needs and,
I mean, May is, if you look, that's April, right?
Yes.
Right there. So it's the same, except number one is discussion of interim results of a housing survey.
Okay, no, so
What does
this
that
is
mean, interim results? It's a survey with solid numbers, right?
It's not a survey of asking people things. It's a survey of us looking a lot of things up in public data sources and compiling conclusions.
an inventory.
Inventory. It's survey in the sense of a research survey. So I say interim results because I'm not confident that our committee will get to a point where we have something publishable by May 15th.
yeah, it's impossible.
So normally what Brian does is he lets your current meeting go, have happened, and then he'll reach out for you to you
Yes.
for your May, so. Unless you know for sure.
I mean, I know for sure that those are the two things we're gonna have to do.
Okay,
Because we don't have room for anything else with those two.
all right, so interim results of housing survey and then district needs and budget
Yeah.
request.
And we have to finish this reviews and budget request because I won't allow them to put it off till June.
Okay. Okay, land use and waterfront.
Okay. TBD, no,
Hold on, where? A lot of red on here too.
yeah, it's not really clear. They did, EDC said last time that they were gonna come back to the next meeting, but I don't know if that's true or just a throwaway line. However, we do need to briefly discuss and pass a EDC resolution that's sort of a pro forma thing regarding the disposition of city-owned land at 455 First Avenue. I would like to finalize the water club resolution. I think I can talk to the committee member who's gonna write that, see if we can get that done with more than enough time to look it over beforehand. We're gonna do budget requests and district needs. Time allowing, I think we've teed ourselves up for a pretty interesting conversation there. That's gonna be dependent on Soloviev, who I imagine would have RSVP'd by now if they were likely to.
They have not to me anyway.
Yeah, and they
I know
haven't.
There was another channel we were exploring, but I don't know if that board already approved.
I did receive a phone call from their lobbyist and I explained that we would like them to come and I said either April or May, but I imagine it's May by now.
Okay, they are more than welcome. We would love to have them.
So in the meantime, do we take this off unless we hear something, or do we?
I mean, I imagine it, in the spirit of this attracting public attention, I would not put it in on there unless we know for sure.
Okay.
And that, I mean, that gives us some flexibility. I mean, we could talk about open data. In fact, like I've gone down the rabbit hole of 311, open data. So I can kind of walk through that if time allows. That's super useful for land use. It's also fun if you want to look up recent MTA ridership, not relevant for my committee, but a good time nonetheless. And that is about it.
So you guys have not been in touch with EDC regarding their actually coming up, or just not for this new reso that they need, but for this is what we heard on the recording. But they just
Yeah, they
talked
just-
about
yeah.
this, so
I think they were gonna kind of just cross First Avenue and go into detail on the other side, was my impression of what they said.
okay, so the Innovation East POA.
Yeah, but if they haven't emailed, and I mean, they've emailed regarding other things, so maybe that was a throwaway line and they didn't intend to follow through with it, in which case that frees us out.
I'll sort it out with them. So if they say, no, we don't want to come for that, you're fine with that, or do you want them to come to talk about something?
I mean, I would kind of like to close the loop on that because we did put a ton of work into it and it does highlight how a lot of the work we did bears fruit and kind of has some positive real world.
So you want,
implications.
you want a presentation on the POAs for Innovation East?
Correct.
Because the POA presentation on Spark at full board was sufficient.
Correct.
All right, then we will reach out to EDC and ask them about that.
Yeah, I'm confident item number 3 should really just be at this point. We should have it, we should talk for 2 minutes, we should say we prepared the reso and be ready to vote on it.
One thing that, in the recent, correspondence with the EDC, they've talked about the housing study that's going to go ahead with city planning. And I don't know if that's something that should be discussed at the committee, like how that's going to proceed, and it's potentially a housing issue as well, so. I don't know what it is or how it's moving forward, but they have reached out, so.
I mean, I would love to dig deeper because it sounds, so my concern is that it's just so much lip service.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would like to know more, but how do we know more?
well, they want to set up meetings. So
I mean,
we need
okay.
to assign people to do that.
I mean, I'll do it. I'll be part of that. We can have a meeting club.
2
Yeah.
gavels, they're not ready for
Yeah.
this.
Okay, all right, that's fine, then we just maybe a new business that can come.
I promise not to be rude to them in a way that brings shame upon them.
City planning, okay,
I'm sorry, just one thing. So Gabe,
Yes,
if you can keep us in the loop of the Parks Committee with the solo group, because I know that's one part they're pitching now is that they're going to have a park and they'll have lots of trees and so
yeah.
kind of keep us in the loop or on any correspondence.
And we're trying to sort out because if they build what they have to build, if they don't get the casino, there is a big public space as well. So we want to do a bit of a comparison.
Well, yeah, I know in
Yeah.
the renderings, it looks like they've changed the,
The locations
what
of
they're
the,
offering.
yeah,
I saw a playground pop up in a recent one.
you name it, it's. in.
I don't think that was there, but okay, cool.
Okay, yes, definitely. Okay, youth and education.
Yes, we will be meeting on next Tuesday on the 20, I believe it's the 22nd. Yes, and the agenda would be discussion of statement of district needs and budget requests. I also hoping to have, but can't put it on the president of the PA at PS 281 come and talk about a specific need. She's on spring break right now. And then I think as part of all the new business here, I want to talk to the members about what they want to, how they want to move ahead and what their interests are on the committee. And Kevin is actively engaged with me on all of these discussions.
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah,
Didn't we do this 3 years ago?
What is that? We don't, they seem to do a lot of
Same,
things annually.
Things have changed in 3 years. Things have changed. Okay, Anton, business affairs and licensing.
It's the same cast.
God.
Oh, it's over 20.
You might
Going
hit
for
30
30.
this month.
Oh, man.
And we haven't gotten the DOT stuff, which generally comes the Monday before the meeting.
Oh, we've been getting every week.
Oh, they have? Oh, hallelujah.
We've been getting every week, and there is a Monday before your bulk meeting, so we may get some then too. But
Well-
you're right now, you are at 24 applications. This Chamber of Commerce still wants to come and give a 5-minute presentation. If you don't think that's good this month, I can try and ask them if they.
Sandy, you sent me something about open streets. And I was gonna share this with the committee members, that we might discuss this and whether we as a committee would make a resolution, whether we favor the changes in
Yeah.
recommended by the DOT and open streets. By the way, in their public comment section, which I reviewed, it was, the changes were met with overwhelming negative response. Overwhelming. But, we should have our say too.
Yeah.
Involve ourselves in open streets, so. The question is, how much time do we have? And
Not much, a few days.
with 20 some odd items on the agenda, I would like to put it in, and if we can get to it, great.
Is it that link you sent around? That comment period closes in a few days, like from now.
It's
So,
very fast.
It will, by the time we get to your bulk meeting, the comment period will be done.
But can we still submit a resolution
After,
for next, at the next, general, meeting?
You can submit a resolution about anything, anytime, whether it'll actually like get into that, probably not.
It's interesting, I didn't see any comments or resolutions from other community boards, but I did see members of particular community boards. I belong to ex-community board. But not speaking for the board, but I definitely don't like the changes.
so, there isn't any way to put that out to the community between now and the time it's closed, that link for comments.
We might have already put it, I know we sent it around before, we might have actually even put it in the newsletter, I don't remember.
Okay.
But, so you want to add this as a topic of discussion?
The question is whether it makes any sense or not, given that the commentary period will have been closed.
What you could do is just send it to the members and say, if you have an opinion, please put please put in comments.
Yes. Budget and district needs, we didn't get to it, I think, last time, but we'll try this time, if we have time.
Well, we haven't been putting it on your agenda just because there's so much, but
Yeah.
we can if you want, but I don't know. Realistically, I don't know that you'll get to it.
Yeah,
It's
it's a lot.
And we've got some that might attract some attention here. We've got, that restaurant that Michael Ann was visiting because she was like.
The
"Hey,"
consulate.
Yeah. No, even before then, it was a restaurant that was up for sale for rent. The space was up for rent on Third Avenue, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
She stopped by, or someone stopped by the restaurant and was like, hey, did you know your space is up for rent? No, we didn't know that. That space is coming up for a cannabis application.
Oh, I will get in touch with Michael and make sure.
514 Third Avenue.
Is the person coming before, affiliated with any other person who's appeared before the, community board in relation to a cannabis license, to our knowledge?
Not, the only affiliation, if you call it that, is that this person, Mr. Bronson, has a sort of somewhat of a connection to Mr. Flynn. Mr. Flynn submitted a notice to municipality cannabis form to Manhattan Community Board 2 with Mr. Bronson's name on it.
Oh,
This came out, I believe, in the New York Times article, and Mr. Bronson was like, I don't know this Flynn guy. I've never spoken to this Flynn guy. Why is this Flynn guy using my name? So, Mr. Bronson was concerned about why his name was being used by someone who he's never met. We directed him to the newly established OCM Trade Practices Bureau to file a complaint, which is what we would do to any member of the public. So that's how this person is somewhat connected
Yeah,
to
so I was trying to read
something.
down the word.
They are somewhat connected, but not in the way of a good way. So,
It sounds like we're gonna have an interesting meeting.
so should I tell the Chamber of Commerce that maybe we could put it off?
yeah, we're gonna have,
Yeah, it's
A
gonna be a
long
long
meeting.
Okay. Or maybe they can come to full board?
Mhm.
They say they only want 5 minutes.
Yeah, possible, because I don't know what sure the topic is.
I can send you their slide deck.
Okay,
yeah, please.
okay. All right, so, I guess, is there, if any member of any committee has any old or new business, please raise your hand.
So can I do a petition to,
Yeah, but,
we have, the budget item request for the, bus service on, to support Spark.
and what kind of, is this, we're asking for more MTA buses?
Either rerouting existing buses or improving service on existing routes, some combination.
And why is that a budget?
I guess we would need,
I think Jim maybe mentioned it at full board.
yeah,
We did.
And so,
But is it a budget request? Like, we asked for changes in bus routing because it's inappropriate, you
well,
know?
for us, for more bus service, there
Yeah.
would be budget required for that, right?
Why don't we just ask for more? I didn't understand why it was a budget request. I don't know. Maybe Nad, do you know why?
I
Or
don't know why either, yeah.
But we asked for lots of things that aren't funded.
I wondered too, but I guess, because I was like, I don't know that that'd be capital, so I guess it would be expense.
Yeah, operating budget.
But you know,
I guess, it doesn't hurt. I just did not understand why it was, but anyway.
and part of, I guess part of the form, the reason this form was instituted and we're trying it out. Is not necessarily to make it easier, but to put a little bit of a bump there so that committees think a little harder about what they're proposing instead of just saying, oh, this would be nice, this would be nice, this would be nice. So maybe some of those things can come up during your committee's discussion of it.
Is that already on?
Yes, it's on there. It was cut off when you
Okay.
first, so sorry, but it's on there.
Okay, very.
But if there are concerns.
Yeah, anyway, you'll discuss it at the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so no new or old business? All right, if there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting at 7. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 7:41. Thank you.